pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to make an announcement that this meeting is being recorded. The recording does not constitute the official record of this meeting. Any revisions to the agenda?
No.
Any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none, we'll go on to the superintendent report. Justin.
Okay, this minutes.
Oh, do we need approval of minutes? Sorry.
Yeah, I can make a motion to approve the minutes, June 11th, July 9th, and August 1st.
I second the motion.
Any questions in? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous.
So I'll start with commendations and recognitions too.
Sorry.
The schools, the facility folks did a great job this summer. Because we didn't have any major hiccups over the summer, so they were just able to focus on cleaning and getting the school ready for the kids and teachers. Teachers come Monday, new teachers come Friday, kids, a week from that, so.
It's here already.
Big recognition to them, and then, you can see from the packet, there's a lot there. To the business office, worked really hard, they spent a half a day to find 6 cents and finally found it in TRS. So, good work on them to get all this together for today's meeting and to get it in the trustees' hands early enough to see it.
Yeah, that is nice.
And then I have my report there, sitting in front of you, really, I'll be brief. Our enrollment, we're at 380 total today, we may see that go up or down, but I think that's about where we're gonna hit. And, if we were to remove 4K from that, we're at about 2017 numbers, it would put us at 364. So from an enrollment perspective, that's kind of where we're hanging. There's a weather station on campus, this is more FYI because I already got one question about it. In case you guys get any questions about it, the DEQ through Kristen Gardner reached out to put a weather station. I think it's gonna be about 4 weeks. And it's gonna inform what's happening with the algae in the river, this particular weather station. So if you haven't seen it, you've been around campus, you might not even see it unless I point it out to you. It's on the hill just above the bus loop, almost straddling that residential lot that we have. So just an FYI in case anyone asks, it's not permanent, because that will be one question the neighbors will probably come up with is it permanent, it's not. And then for anybody who's listening that's a teacher, they're happy to come in and give a presentation after they collect all the data and talk to any of our kids about, any classes about what they're up to. And then lastly, I don't know how many of you know about the Coordinating Council at Big Sky. It's a group of government, semi-government, nonprofit entities in the community. And I was one of the original members on this back in 2017, Matt, you probably remember me talking about when I was asked to become a member of that. So it's Big Sky School Districts, it's water and sewer, it's the Morningstar Learning Center, Sheriff's Department, so people that represent, I would say, different facets of the community, like health and welfare, social services, these kinds of things. And we work through certain strategic areas. So they're hosting a semi-open house for key board members or board members or people who are represented on this committee and that's on this council, and that's Monday. So I put the invitation in there with you if you can make it. It would just be maybe informative for kind of what this organization is up to.
Great. Thanks, Justin. Move on to middle and high school principals report.
Thank you. We are just gearing up for the school year. We can't believe that it starts so quickly and we're really excited. We feel like we're in a really good position, particularly because we don't have any facility to open. So we can't believe how organized we are. It's great. We can welcome the kids tomorrow almost. We have our grade 6 orientation and new student orientation next Thursday. And then we have a great PRR week set up for when the faculty come back. And I think I told you guys last month that we have Dr. Franklin coming to do some PD on student wellness in the classroom and how the teachers are a protective factor for student wellness. And it's a great itinerary she's put together. And final preparations for Expedition we're working on. And then lastly, Homecoming's coming together. It's September 30th to October 5th. And our theme this year is Western Rodeo. So it should be fun.
Awesome. Great. Any questions? Thanks, Marla. Elementary school, Brittany.
Same, ditto. Only we didn't open a new building. But we are prepping for return. We have, I could just say, new teachers on campus on Friday. People have been in the building already. They're all so eager, returning staff and new staff, to open up their classrooms to students. So they've been working really hard in their classrooms. Had a really great team meeting today to discuss planning for the year and kind of map things out. Lots of positive energy, so that's great. Also, today was the culmination of our summer camp that we offered for the first time. And for the kiddos that attended, they had really good outcomes. And it was a really positive experience. So that is really fun to hear. And then on a personal note, I'm excited for the year to come because all 4 of my kids will be in the building. So I get them for 2 years, all 4 here. So watch out, teachers.
That's pretty amazing.
4K, good luck.
That's great. Awesome. Questions, anybody? Thanks, Brittany.
Yeah.
DP, Mr. Sullivan.
So I'm gonna jump in and share some good news and exciting news. Last report, we had 13 of our 15 diploma candidates receiving a full diploma, and between now and then, there's typically some sort of review that happens with students if they don't earn it. And we did find that one of our candidates was, after working with the assessment team, did end up earning the diploma, which was excellent news. So that was 14 of our 15 full diploma candidates coming out of that 93% of that cohort, which is just incredible. I know Dustin and Marla both shared their excitement, and I just want to echo that because we were really proud of how this group did, and that was a great celebration. Aside from expressing my own excitement with the results, one thing I just want to really reiterate is that the results we're seeing with this program, both for diploma students who are doing the full program and those who are sitting for individual subject exams, are really showing the strength of our program and its capacity to support these students in reaching a high level of academic achievement, which will frankly set them up for not only being prepared for that college workload, but for greater opportunities in entering that college experience right off the bat, whether it be course credits as they enter university, advanced honors standing, or wherever it might be at their university. But we're really excited about that and really want to continue to encourage students. We're seeing that these students are capable of it. Our teachers are doing a great job teaching this curriculum. And we really want to reiterate that this is an opportunity for our students, and we want them to take advantage of it when they can. So a lot to celebrate there. I've been in touch with several of those graduates to make sure that they understand how to register their IB results with their respective universities. And I'm eager to get in touch with them when they come back and visit and hear how things are going. On the faculty side of things, we have Vanessa Wilson is currently completing her IB workshop for math applications and interpretations. She's been working really diligently this summer to prepare for this new role, and we look forward to having her join our faculty in teaching math with the IB program. And then we are also looking at August PIR, preparing and working on organizing resources for our faculty. And I'll be sharing those with them during our PIR meeting in August, which we typically use to really get on the same page and plan out the year so that we can support our students to be successful in our programs. That's my report.
Great. And what's the number for kids? Are we still at that 50%?
With this
mark that we're looking to?
With this current cohort, we'll be under that mark. We were at 10 out of 26 students, but it looks like we'll be at 8 due to changes in enrollment. So we're going to be at about 30% for this incoming cohort.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Activities. Mr. Hannes.
Thank you. So fall sports start in 3 days. Officially, but our coaches and volunteers have done a fantastic job all summer getting kids in the gym and out on the field. And I'm excited to welcome our new volleyball coaches. Ashley Muckway, who is here today, has agreed to sign on as the new head coach. She works for the chamber. And she's got a couple of friends, and she's involved with BASE as well, as are these other two. Gavin Dean, who played college volleyball.
Yep.
Correct, and then Stephen Reed, who runs the adult recreation through BASE and has also coached club volleyball in Colorado for 6 years. So we've got, in the 11th hour, 3 very qualified and well-equipped individuals.
Well, thanks
So
for
we're-
joining.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have them, and it's always gratifying when the girls who have been at BASE working with these people all summer are also coming to me and saying like how excited they are. So that's great. Our new online registration platform, Final Forms, has gone off pretty well, as we expected. There's some growing pains. It's a new platform. Getting everybody signed up with an account and their kids with an account and everything is a work in progress, but I think that moving forward, having that already created and having all of our forms already there is going to be so much more painless in the future. And even though I think there's still quite a few people that still need to get registered, I think, for example, 12 kids are registered for football right now, but I know there's a number of kids that I know are playing that are not on that list that we'll just work through getting them registered. So probably planning on a Q&A moving forward, either the first or second day of practice there, just helping people get onto that platform and get registered. We've also partnered with GoFan. It is an online ticketing platform for sporting events. This is something that kind of fell into my lap recently. 5 out of our 7 teams in our district use it. And it basically, with the new universal pricing model, the prices are going to go up a little bit this year. For adults, I'm still planning on letting our students in for free. I think that's something our kids enjoy a lot and our families enjoy a lot. We already ask enough of these kids, and so there will be a student price, but that'll likely just be visiting students as well as a new adult price. It won't be much, it'll just be a couple bucks, but there's going to be a feature where you can buy tickets in advance, and you can even if you're there and you don't have cash, there's a credit card reader, you can do it right off the bat. If that is something the board needs to approve, we can wait to roll it out until after the September meeting. If it's not, then we're prepared to do it on the beginning of the first game. So.
Yeah, I think that's a go.
Okay, sounds good. I think it'll be easier. I think it'll, especially with the growing per diem for officials and everything, I think it's a good idea. I think and we'll still obviously at least for the first year offer a cash gate as well. For those parents that are used to paying in cash, we could still do that, but I think it's going to be a much more streamlined. And I think that with the ticket prices going up, there might be fewer complaints if they can just use a credit card instead of paying cash. So,
agreed.
Yeah.
Great.
Can we do it so they can use their phones too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can get your ticket and then just have it on your phone, and they just scan it in, and you're good to go.
What's the fee on the credit card?
Oh, the credit card fee, that's how they make their money, is the credit card fee. It's not much, it's very small. Per person, you won't even notice it.
Won't even notice.
Yeah.
It's like 6 cents.
Yeah, 6 cents.
Yeah. And again, that is something that they kind of, it was a very recent thing. It's probably why you guys are just hearing about it now, but they're giving us iPads and card readers for free. So I figured it was a no-brainer, at least to get, if anything, to get more money per game to pay our officials and to keep the lights on. So.
Right. Well, I think streamlining too, like you said, is gonna be great.
Yeah.
So. Thanks, John.
You bet.
We're saving business till BNA 5 and budget committee, kind of all in one, so. Move on to discussion and action. I would accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the engagement letter as presented for the audit.
I second.
Yeah, so this is the yearly audit as required by OPI with Olmos and Associates. It's the same one we do every single year.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimously.
I'll make a motion to approve the travel for Lone Peak High School fall sports as presented.
I second the motion.
So, this is in there for 2 full things. One is FYI, like, so you can come to the games if you want to attend the games. But then secondly, there could be something that goes over the 300-mile threshold for you guys. to approve students traveling over 300 miles as per board policy. There will be some changes in times and days, but those won't make it back to this board. This is more about the travel, because 300 miles, that's very possible.
Would that be like playoffs,
Yeah, that
stuff
would
like
be,
that?
yeah,
We don't have anything
playoffs.
planned as of right now, except for that.
Well, we have 250, and then I don't know how far St. Libre, John.
It's under 300, but it's pretty darn
under
close,
300.
yeah.
Okay. So that would come back to us if it was over 300.
Nothing will come back to you, so you're
We're just saying,
approving
yeah,
300, that the kids can travel over 300 miles, because, I mean, we would end up probably in the emergency board meeting if there was a playoff game in, you know, whatever, somewhere 300 miles away.
Right.
Doesn't take long to get 300 miles from you.
Great, any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-district students as presented.
I second the motion.
So the list is in the packet and it's broken down into 3 different categories: mandatory enrollment, discretionary enrollment of returning student, and discretionary enrollment of new students. So you'll see in there that we've kind of broken this down on who's gonna be paying who for these different levels of enrollment categories, so to speak. It's my recommendation that we approve all of the students that are presented on this paper, on this list, and I would entertain any questions if you have them about how non-district enrollment works at this time.
I had a couple questions, Dustin.
Sure.
My understanding is that the mandatory enrollment's just that, it's folks like to live up in the clubs
Correct,
that have to be on the side because of the geographical barrier.
correct.
Okay. And is discretionary, does it mean what it says? It is truly discretionary?
Truly.
Okay, so my question then is how does it help our existing kids or our families or whatever when we're paying $31,358.16 to host 10 or 12 kids that we don't have to host?
Sure, so that is what I would say is, at least with the returning students, so some of these students, if we look at the one, the 10th grader has been with us for 10 years now.
Sure.
That
I understand how it helps the individual.
Yeah,
themselves, but-
absolutely. So how it, as I think we maybe talked about briefly at the budget committee meeting, so previous to this year, right, this is new legislation, we didn't have to pay anything.
Correct.
And they came, we collected the A and B, and that was that. Now, we will be paying this out of our tuition fund. So we would levy that to the taxpayer in a non-voted situation, and just, here's where we're gonna levy from the taxpayer, that gets put on the tax bill and comes to us. Out of that, then when we count the kids, we'll get the full A and B form. So per kid, it's about approximately, let's say, $4,000 average swing into our, it's a $7,000 input to the general fund, but dollars to dollars, it's about a $4,000 increase. You're at $4,000 difference to the positive for the school.
Versus the full A and B.
Well, we'll get the full A and B, and the other we'll get permissively levied and put right into the tuition fund and then put forth. So we'll get the full A and B, let's just for round numbers, say that's 7,000. If we levy 3,000, that's 3,000 never gets taken out of that A and B, it goes into the tuition fund, right?
So it's
Or it
not
comes
coming out
from the
of our-
tuition
So
fund.
the money, based on the head count this year, we'll get that A and B next year. We'll get the increase in the general fund next year. At this board meeting, assuming the board approves the budget and the tuition fund, we will go out and levy the taxpayers for that money this year.
That goes to be paid back.
And that has to go to those districts and will be paid at the end of this fiscal year. So it's a permissive levy, but it's the board's decision to tax the taxpayers for the taxpayers.
And I guess maybe that's really the question, we are having to tax our constituents or whatever, they may be called our neighbors, to bring in kids from out of district that we don't have to take.
That is correct.
So, we're doing a good turn, I guess, but it's costing us collectively almost $32,000 for these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
But it's also helping our
Yeah,
general
so how
fund
many
because
is
it's bumping
there?
up our A and B.
You just counted that, how many?
I think 12.
12.
Right?
So yeah, it's a $40,000,
Yeah.
again, approximately tax permissively to the taxpayer. And then in an A and B calculation, it's whatever that is.
So it helps our A and B fund a
85,000.
little bit.
It's 85,000 into the general fund. And that's why we separated them out. I'll start doing this. Before, if you remember, it was a consent agenda item. Now it's gonna be for action and discussion every time we get an out-of-district student.
And it's a really big
Request.
deal right now, from my understanding from the state level, like in Bozeman and Helena, as people are starting to say, well, I don't wanna go to school here, I'd rather go to school at the other Bozeman school. And, you know, it was legislated in a way where that was supposed to encourage parental choice. But it's certainly creating a lot of issues, particularly pertaining to sports.
Can we charge them for their choice?
No,
We used to be able to, but we can't now.
cannot.
So the best we can do is say no.
That's correct. If there,
Yeah,
one of the,
you could say no.
yeah, if for financial benefit, for financial reasons, yes, the board can say no.
And I know I'm a little slower on the uptake on this, but we don't get A and B plus program. We get, at best, we're breaking even after we do a permissive levy.
That is correct. And now we do get, Ennis has to pay us for those mandatory people.
The mandatory ones, right?
That money goes to the general fund, but cannot increase our threshold. So we can't increase our budget, it just goes to the tax,
It just
offset the taxes for the next year.
So it would, it essentially softens what a voted levy might become.
But it doesn't go to the tuition, it just goes to the general fund taxes the next year.
And so for those 12 kids, we can use that to kind of pad the budget in a sense. But not really,
No,
because it
we
comes
cannot.
out to zeros at the end of the
No, we
day.
cannot.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't come out to zero, because those 12 kids, will count them, just as if they were 12 in-district kids. So we still get that. We'll still get that into the general fund as per the A and B count
Next year.
next year, just like even if it was new in-district kids, that's still next year.
Giving us a greater A and B is beneficial comparatively
Right,
to.
the 4,000 is gonna go into just a different bucket that we really can't spend unless it's a tuition approved expense.
So we pay less than we will get, is that correct?
The
Essentially.
taxpayer is paying less than what we would get.
We're still losing money on the deal. I mean, we're picking it up from the tax base, but we're not making the same amount of money, right? I know I'm having a hard time with it.
Into the general fund, we're making the same amount of money.
Correct, but
But we're
because
spending
taxing
more.
our neighbors,
We're spending more out of the tuition fund to make that money.
which we then take back through a permissive levy. Or make back.
That's
up
what we
with
spend
permissive.
it, we spend it through a permissive levy. So, we could say it's something like this, that again, it's 12 kids at 2,300. That's, about 40,000. It's taxed at the same rate as what our mills, as the same mill rate. So at 40,000 across this tax base, it is per 100,000.
2 cents.
2 cents. So-
Not much, but could we use that 40,000 for something else, if we weren't having to spend it to bring these out of district kids in?
Well, we probably wouldn't collect it, but no, it would sit in the tuition fund and we would use it to, if some of our kids went to Ennis, then we would use that to pay them. We would use it for any alternative placement so the tuition fund, we can talk about that when we get into it in more depth, but the tuition fund is used exactly for those kinds of things. Something related to tuition, if you have a special ed student who needs to go to a specialized
Sure,
school.
but we could use that for our in-district kids if they had to go out of district,
If they chose to go out of district, we would.
versus using it for out-of-district kids that are coming into district.
Or no, if our kids chose to go out of district, we wouldn't pay for them, they would pay us.
Yeah.
No,
We'd lose the A and B, but
Yeah, then they would pay us that 4,000.
right.
But we already have a budget for this. This is already in our budget.
These
the
kids are
tuition
these
fund.
kids are in the enrollment that I read today.
So I think
So we lower our A and B
we're
without
just,
these kids and we don't get that money. And then,
no, we're getting money, but it just goes into a different budget next year. So we could pay teachers with that budget.
Not for the tuition budget.
Not the
No,
tuition, but
Not the
the,
A and B.
our general fund
Yeah.
will experience whatever that number is, increase of 15 kids. Well, no, it'll be all these kids,
From the A and B.
but the outside Yep,
A lot of
Out of
districts have a January 1 cutoff for out-of-district kids, so that this doesn't happen. As they're starting the budget for the next fiscal year, and teacher, class sizes, et cetera, this isn't becoming a last minute type of decision. There's an out-of-district cutoff, hard line.
Because this was a session 23 bill, and so the implementation hasn't been efficient. But certainly that's probably a better idea, is to consider them on a month-to-month basis.
Because you can
With a
evaluate
deadline.
class size, et cetera.
And do we have a deadline as it stands or not yet?
No, we've just told people, any discretionary, new or returning, that those decisions would be made today. And you can re-motion this to look at the 3 different categories.
Yeah,
Just wanna
there are
make sure I
7
understand.
returning students in there, right, that have been a part of our community, some for a long time.
I mean, of the new, most of them have come and said, we want to come to the school because of what we've heard about the school. Of the new.
And I think that's a positive thing. It's great that people want to come and be here
Totally.
because of what we offer. I just wanna make sure that we're not
Yep.
Put it on our shirt.
I'm
paying more than we
100%
need to, or
I'm with you.
you're not getting a net financial benefit, because at the end of the day, I don't care about out-of-district kids as much as I care about in-district kids.
Yep.
And that's the nut of it.
And each discretionary student can be evaluated on an annual basis. Class size, financial requirements, that's up to the board. So this doesn't put, whatever, how, 12 kids in.
It doesn't mean that 4K gets to stay till they're a senior.
That's
We're good? Any other questions?
Are any of these, I don't know if I'm even allowed to ask from a confidentiality perspective, I can't ask. If any of them are employees, children,
Oh. I don't think so.
Can you,
Actually,
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah.
There's one. That particular student's been here for a long time.
which I think is probably helpful from a recruiting perspective.
And I'll add this, I'm pretty sure that particular student, that family paid tuition every year that we required it along the way.
But that's something we can't do anymore.
Not
Is that
any longer.
Under the statute, where it says we have.
Yeah, because the school district's picking that up. Cause it was the same with that, Matt, when the parent had to pay it, it was capped, I think it was $1,300 for a high school student. It went directly into tuition anyway. It didn't go into, it wasn't a general fund buffer.
Okay. Call for a vote.
Motion?
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimously. Next
Thank
motion.
A motion to approve the fiscal year 24 trustees financial statement as presented.
So this is, for OPI,
Sorry.
oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'll second the motion.
Excited.
Sorry, I was just
Talking
waiting
for weeks about
for
it.
Courtney to tell us.
So this is, right, the accounting of every expense and revenue, penny, pound,
Amazing.
euro, and hooverang, that went through the district in fiscal year 24.
Yeah, the OPI refers to it as TFS, and if you scroll through the website, it says trustees financial statements and trustees financial summary, so it's one or the other or both. It is, as Dustin said, it's a detailed accounting of all fiscal year 24 transactions associated with the budgeted funds. And then it also provides current state balance sheet data through June 30, so as of the end of last fiscal year. The data in that packet has been validated by OPI already and is subject to your approval. And once that's done, it goes to the superintendent, the county treasurer, and then the Department of Revenue. All of which is audited again in September, October timeframe, October, I guess it is, to make sure that we're not hiding any of these pennies, pesos, euros. Euros,
That's a
francs, pounds.
lot of hard work, thank you. Any questions on that statement? Call for a vote, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? As unanimously.
Make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2025 budget as presented.
I second the motion.
So the entire budget to be loaded to OPIs in the packet, the budget committee and I and Corky met last week and present. It's still reflective of a general fund deficit of $108,000 after $827,000 of grants and private dollars are injected into the general fund. It's a lot. We're better off though than we were thinking we were gonna be 6 months ago. So you had this, in your hands for a while, budget committee or Corky, whoever feels like going next, the floor is yours.
Well, I mean, I'll chime in at the start, and, in the packet, you can see the property values have actually gone down in Big Sky, based on the Department of Revenue's thinking in turn, anyway. I think that's pretty accurate. Prices have softened a little bit. Houses are on the market a little bit longer. I think it was the Gallatin County Association of Realtors actually identified a 9.5% drop over the last 12 months in prices across the valley. So it's probably pretty accurate to Big Sky when it's showing. So with the slight decrease in property value and the fact that the school decreased its footprint to the tune of about $360,000 to the taxpayer, there's a drop in the mills. And so we're gonna save taxpayers $5 per $100,000 of home value. So, we're buying everybody a couple cups of coffee this year.
Better than on the other way.
But we are, and I don't know that there's a public company or group that's reducing their tax footprint. I'm pretty sure the water and sewer and the fire district are gonna be charging the local taxpayers more versus the schools actually charging less. So I think we should be pretty proud of that. So even with a possible deficit and relying on private dollars to the tune of close to $1 million, we are asking less of the taxpayers, which I think is pretty positive.
Comments from you guys, committee?
I just have one question, it's $180,000, that's not $108,000, right?
180.
Or 180, sorry, correct.
Okay, that was, just flipped,
I know,
it says
I was
108 in
really
the.
excited about the.
Oh, it says 108 in
It
the,
does, yeah.
in the packet, sorry, in my annotated agenda, it's 180.
So I think it is impressive what y'all have been able to do in terms of getting it down. But I think everybody should still recognize, and this is something that Tara and I talked about at a board meeting or the budget meeting before, is we're still running a deficit, and we are scheduled to run a deficit for the next number of years, if not forever. Parents need to be aware of that, and the other thing we need to be aware of is this year it's nearly $1,070,000 in private and grant money that made this happen. But for that, this doesn't work at all. We're like a quarter short. And so folks need to appreciate that we are doing this, but we're only doing it because we have help from out in the community and we need that continued help. So anybody who's listening out there or watching this later needs to understand that. Because we are essentially running, private school amenities on public school budget, which is just not functional unless we have help from the community. We've had a lot of help from a lot of the clubs and some of that's waning a little bit, so please get out and talk to your friends and neighbors about how important it is that we do this. Because unless they change the things up at the State House, we're gonna be facing the same struggles in the coming years, aren't we?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we're funding fiscal year 25 that we're talking about on last year's enrollment. And so with a drop in enrollment, another 15 students, we'll be funding next year on a decreased general fund.
So,
And that's just sorry, a reminder that we graduate at 33 or 32, right? And we have 16 coming in. So there's a big difference in those numbers. As everyone talks about programming, at some point, there'll have to be some really hard input from the community about what's to be continued and, congratulations. So it was a lot of hard work to, I mean, I don't want to congratulate a negative number because we're not quite there yet, but it's a lot of work that was done in 6 months to make it feel more comfortable on this end.
I think the other thing that folks need to understand is that 95% of our budget's in salaries and benefits. And so when we're talking about trimming the fat, it's 5%.
Yeah.
That's the best we can do, that's cutting everything but staff, so that's not doable. So when people talk about how do we get the budget trimmed down, it's talking about things like taking away teacher lunches, taking away the lunch program altogether, taking away athletics, taking away, all the electives. So if folks want those things to continue, they have to pay for them. The end.
Well, because if we did cut, right, we had
some cuts.
We had a round of cuts,
Sure.
and we're still looking
We're
at,
still at
at a number
95%.
that's 7 figures.
But, so. I appreciate all the work.
Yeah, thanks to the budget committee and Courtney and Libby, everybody.
Libby.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Do you have any questions about any specific funds that are presented in the package? The only thing I'd have else to say is that going towards the future, we have, Libby, what is it, one more payment on our staff housing? So that'll come off the books, that goes away. In 2026, we'll make the final payments on the $10 million for this elementary building. I'm sorry, that's 2028. 2026, we fall off the Bozeman High School debt, so that'll come off your taxes. So going forward, the school will continue to shrink its overall footprint to the taxpayers from a property tax value. But yes, donations are being granted. It's one for the
So
Take
other.
really
that money.
appreciate it, yeah. But that's a good point too, to get back out there.
Yeah.
So everybody knows how we're helping out, so. All right, well, call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second the motion.
All those in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed unanimously.
So I have Thursday, September 12th, that's the next date, if that's okay with you guys to change it this 1 month from Tuesday to Thursday
I had a question, because I think 3 of us have a soccer game,
on the
if
12th.
possible.
I mean,
I don't know if that Wednesday is.
Wednesday's fine too.
I am out, but I believe I can zoom in.
So would Wednesday, the 11th work better?
It would, but
Yeah, either
if
one's
not,
fine
if
with
not,
me.
we'll.
I may be able to make the Wednesday, I can make Thursday.
Okay, so that's what I'll shoot for. I'll send out the calendar invite, and if you guys, if I get a quorum response, then we'll stick with that.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll keep October 8th on there as
Yeah.
normal. Great. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.